Good afternoon, everybody. I'm very glad and proud to be here with you to speak about chemical and biological defense capabilities. In the 20th century, both before the Second World War and during the Cold War, chemical weapons were the subject of occasional talk of prevent employment, allegation of unemployment of effort to ban. The media's interest in chemical weapons and consequently of the public follow the same rhythmic. Each of these occasions allow for new days or even a few weeks an outbreak of articles, reports and investigations and the multiplication of interviews with specialists. This is why the unexpected appearance of chemical weapons in the news was often been compared to the mythical sea serpent supposed to disappear as quickly as it arose. Today, that logic has reached its limits and the world lies in anguish and, one might say, in the meantime, a chemical terrorist attack imitated by that of the Tokyo subway in 1995. Now the interest for chemical weapons remains at the consistently high level and does not appear to fade quickly. This is why both the target and the methods of what's called chemical warfare are changing in nature and chemical terrorism until then inure to be the point that the convention of the ban of chemical weapons does not even allude to it, abruptly resurfacing in the spotlight. According to the adage of the weapon and armor researchers in industrial countries quickly became aware of the threat and endeavor to develop increasingly sophisticated systems and means of protection in order to counter immediate or delayed effects. This presentation does not pretend to give you an exhaustive overview of all the development made in the area of chemical defense mainly, but is intended to rouse your interest by better understanding the research axes and their outcomes in terms of detection, identification, protection, or decontamination. In terms of protection, new techniques, both in the respiratory tract and in the skin, were developed only a few years ago. The protection must include, to be complete, a specific outline, a respiratory protection mask, gloves, and possibility both or over both. As the respiratory tract is the primary cause of internal contamination, the development of protective masks, even if they always respond to the same principle, has been spectacular. There are many respiratory protection systems today, ranging from a simple mask to an autonomous closed-circuit breathing system. In this slide, you can see a respiratory protection, autonomous, with a special system for respiration. Here you can see the evolution about the protection mask between the first war and the Gulf War in 1991. Research is now moving toward reducing the multiple physiological constraints linked to be wearing of these respiratory protection. As you can now imagine, wearing a protection mask generated strong constraint and limits working time, especially under high thermal constraint. Okay, here you have in this slide the constraint of of the protection, because when you have a mask in the face, you have the reduction vision field, impeding communication, and make breathing more difficult and dependency on air supply or nose. Research and development has made it possible to considerably reduce physical and physiological constraints by dramatically improve the comfort of protective clothing, which, while ensuring the same level of protection, has become lighter while ensuring heat exchange between the body and the air, surrounding atmosphere. So-called breathable outfits are now adopted by armies and first responders who can work longer and stay operational in an optimal manner. Comparing of waterproof clothing, they provide the same level of security, are decontaminable, water repellent, and reusable several times after washing. It's a difference with impermeable protection suits, which are made of natural or synthetic rubber materials. Never toxic chemical, nor air or water weather will pass through the rubber. Because the suit cannot breathe, it's become very warm, especially in a hot climate. This protective clothing level consists of air-permeable chemical warfare clothing, like Saratoga system, worn with an air-purifying respirator, safety shoes, chemical protective overboot and gloves. This one, self-contained breathing apparatus, consists of air-permeable chemical warfare clothing, worn with an SCBA, safety shoes, chemical protective, overboot and gloves. This one consists of impermeable chemical protecting clothing, example post-voyage suits. In France, one on top of air-permeable chemical warfare clothing with an air-purifying respirator, safety shoes, chemical protective overboots and glove over. And this one, it's the same, but you have the permeable chemical warfare worn with SBA safety shoes and gloves always. And this one is the best of the protection when you, for the first responder. It consists of fully encapsulated impermeable chemical protective suit, responder, one with chemical protective boots and an atmosphere supply respirator and an SCBA. Of course, you have some constraint when you wear this type of chemical protection suit, and reduce agility, mobility, tactical sensibility, increased heat load, heightened development system rather expensive. Nothing is impermeable, totally impermeable. As far as alert detection is concerned, a new system have appeared and have been improved over time in order to give the weakest and fastest information possible while keeping relative ease of use. The techniques used today are colorimetry, photoflame, spectrometry, sampling or adsorbent tubes, liquid chromatography, ion detection. This sometimes complex system can now be loaded and grouped in various armored vehicles or not real laboratory specialized vehicle and in the field of detection and identification of radiological, biological and chemical agents. In this slide you can see some different complex system for reconnaissance vehicles, CBRNe reconnaissance vehicle, like VAB, it's for the French army, and several vehicles with many systems for detection and identification of chemical warfare on biological pathogen agent. About detection technology, you can see in this slide of some system for the detection and identification of pathogen remains the most explored research exists today, taking into account new emerging threats. The goal of research in this area is to be able to detect and then reliably identify a pathogen in the shortest time possible. The research aims to develop more and more efficient equipment by becoming more compact and, if possible, easily transportable, either by operators on a board specialized vehicle. Other systems consist in organizing zone surveillance via a network of beacons, which includes technology enabling detection of biological and chemical alerts, while integrating the recording of local weather parameters. Here you can see mobile lab detection equipment, like as cat warfare medical detection kit, or field spectrometer as a trade prevalent. You can see some development about mobile detection equipment, about immunoassay, immunochemical, portable detection equipment. From the decontamination point of view, the known chemical solution dedicated to this operation continue to be used, but new research is directed towards less aggressive or totally different solutions, such as enzymatic contamination. New systems are marked both for the military sector and for civilian hospitals. Faster to implement by a minimum of people and even more effective, that can deal with fluids or infected people, valid or not. At the same time, simpler and lighter system dedicated to first responder and made off to then for emergency decontamination, such as the DECPOL, dry decontamination, blow, or RSDL decontamination solution, usable on open wounds. In this slide, you can see the new decontamination equipment for hospital. It consists of containers to quickly process a large number of able-bodied vapor. All necessary means are included in a 20-foot containers. The system is operational as soon as the door is open, in maybe 2 or 5 minutes. The SDSE and the UDHE contains to rapidly disable or on stretcher. They also deal with able bodies and special case, family with children, absence of SDSV, and etc. Individual field shower in stainless steel with 3 outlets, automatic adjustable, produce, mixing, decontamination, shampoo, soapy, liquid, and safe. And this one is in the system, the decontamination system for the casualties which are not available. You use warm soap, water skin, decon solution. And here you are the some decontamination equipment, like decontamination equipment. And this one, your individual decontamination is a new product about the individual decontamination. It's a Expo, it's a special glove with a special liquid for decontamination of the skin or of the system or where we were. And RSDL is an American system for decontamination of the skin. About blister agent, you must immediately decontaminated affected area, must be decontaminated in 1 or 2 minutes. And you remove clothing cross-contamination in a major concern due to the delay effect. In the field of identification of toxic agents, sophisticated laboratory techniques are now exported to the field as close as possible to the event. Sampling and analysis kits are now available to operators deployed in the field. And you have some mass spectrometer and some system for analyze the toxic agent or pathogen biological agent. And you can see here some type of mobile laboratory for the first responder, for the fireman, or for the army or police. You have the industrial develop some sampling kit and detection kit. It's really simple for the analyze in the field when you detect a contamination by toxic agent, chemical toxic agent, or biological agent. Finally, medical research is not to be outdone as it continues to develop rapid means of treating contaminated, injured people, implemented as soon as possible. The auto-injecting syringe are dosed more precisely and can be stored longer, the treatment, which enter into their composition, having been freeze-dried. Research of the efficacy of pseudostainmine continues, and new prophylactic treatments had been developed in the research laboratory. Here you are the auto-injecting syringe with oxygen, atropine, and medium breathing cleaner management for the contamination by neurotoxic agent. You will easily understand that the resurgent fear of chemical and biological weapons has forced researchers and industrialists in the defense sector, CBRNe, to deploy a lot of effort in order to develop means to counter the effect of it in an even faster and more effective way. The progress made in all the areas that I addressed before you today are continuous and permanent because the threat is taken very seriously by both the public powers and by technology and CBRNe protection specialists. The threat posed by weapons of mass destruction is likely to worsen in the coming years due to technological advances and increasing asymmetry between forces. The proliferation of advanced technology, especially in the chemical and biological field, will make weapons of mass destruction more accessible for new, often non-state actors. Increasingly easy access to information via the web and the internet network will increase in the risk that individuals wishing to commit attack of apocalyptic dimension is more and more prevalent. To cope with this growing threat, manufacturers all over the world, and particularly French, continue tirelessly to research and develop new technologies increasingly efficient in the areas of alert detection, identification, protection, and prophylactic treatments. As a result, technological developments inevitably depend on the progress of science that they can concretize in an obvious way in order to thwart the possible attempts of use or weapon of mass destruction at the local or even more extended scale. Thank you for your attention. I hope not to have been not too long, but the subject to be treated is vast and relatively complex. Thank you very much.